Welcome viewers. I am Dr. Sushmita Bhaskar from the School of Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies from the Discipline of Environmental Studies from Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. This course introduces you to environmental and occupational hazards with the course code MEV002, and in this you will be introduced to the various types of environmental hazards, natural hazards, occupational hazards and the management of the hazards. Under the section natural hazards, you will be introduced to the terms natural hazard, hazard, the dimensions of hazards and a disaster, like when does a hazard become a disaster. You will also be introduced to the impacts of the various natural hazards and disasters. In this, we will also be talking about the human-induced and anthropogenic forms of disasters, for example, the nuclear explosions and so on. Under natural hazards, we will be focusing on the earthquakes and tsunamis, on volcanoes, on floods, droughts, landslides which are slow hazards, then the cyclones, thunderstorms and the tornadoes. So we have classified them based on the geological, the hydrological, the atmospheric phenomena and hazards, and also weather related and the coastal hazards. The next section will deal on physical hazards, and in this special focus would be given on noise and vibration, the various hazards that are induced because of these problems. And then we will also focus on radiation. Now under radiation, the ionizing and the non-ionizing radiation would be dealt with in detail. Chemical hazards. These are also a very important form of hazards which can cause burns and other problems to human health. So in this we will discuss about the flammable chemical materials, corrosive chemical materials, reactive materials and chemical toxins. So all these, each of these materials can cause some type of a hazard to the human body, and we will discuss these in detail. The next focuses on biological hazards. So as we all know, bacteria, viruses and fungi, these agents can cause a variety of diseases and hazards in the humans as well as in the plant and the animal flora and the fauna. Then also certain plant and plant products can also cause certain allergic reactions, dermatitis and cause various forms of hazards. In the same way, animal and animal products, some people may be allergic to cheese, some people may be allergic to the sugarcane and so on. So even the animal products, plant products and the microorganisms, all the hazards due to these and the toxins that they release, the enterotoxins, the endotoxins, these will be dealt in detail. Then we come on to occupational hazards. Under occupational hazards, we will be discussing about the hazards that are associated with each occupation. For example, the hazards that are faced by workers in the mining and construction industry. Then again, the agriculture and the allied sector, the farmers may be using certain kinds of chemical and synthetic pesticides or fertilizers. So what are the hazards that will be induced by these chemicals and how is their health going to be affected? Then the hazards that are faced by the healthcare workers, especially in the hospital and the healthcare centers. Then we have the corporate and the office hazards, for example certain musculoskeletal disorders or the ergonomics, these will be dealt in these sections. Then we would be focusing specially and will give a special focus on the hazards faced by the healthcare workers alone, because they are dealing with several infectious agents with chemicals and so on. So in this also we have classified them as the physical, chemical, biological, radiological, ergonomic hazards and also the psychosocial hazards that are faced by the healthcare workers. In the end, we will introduce you to the management of natural hazards, environmental hazards and the occupational hazards. Under this, the basic disaster management and institutional framework will be discussed in detail, focusing also on the disaster risk reduction (DRR) and SFDR. Then we would discuss on the natural disaster management and with the special laws and the policies also that have come up in the Indian government. Then we would focus on the mitigation of all the physical hazards, the mitigation of noise, of the vibration, the temperature and other hazards, how we can go about the same. Then we'll focus on the mitigation of the chemical hazards, how we can mitigate and manage the chemical hazards both in industries as well as in the healthcare sector. the mitigation of the biologic hazards, again the infectious agents, both in the healthcare industry and also in the other sectors, even at home, even in the natural environment, how we can mitigate and manage the various biological hazards. This was an overview of the course and the contents that we would be explaining in details in this course. I hope you find this course useful in your study and your profession. Thank you.